Big Ten women's gymnastics takes center stage in Lincoln, Nebraska this weekend. Tonight's Big Five meet followed by tomorrow's Big Five meet. Tonight we see Illinois, Iowa, Maryland, Michigan, and Penn State. And when you take a look at the national rankings, you know that Big Ten women's gymnastics deserves the spot on center stage. 7 teams in the top 25, led by the Michigan Wolverines at number 3 and the Ohio State Buckeyes at 13. The Big Fives help fulfill the regular season schedule. That means this weekend we could find the regular season champ, more importantly, determine the final seedings for the Big Ten championships a couple weeks from now in Iowa City. And good evening, everyone. Alongside Olivia Karras, I'm Dean Linke. And Olivia, I know that you as a gymnast love the Big Fives.
It was such a fun meet. You're all together in the same place. It's almost a trial run for championships a couple weeks away. All athletes get to see all their friends on other teams and, most importantly, experience what it's like to compete with 4 events going at the same time.
All right, Olivia, let's go to work and break down all 5 teams participating tonight. We'll start with Illinois.
The Fighting Illini have been on the rise this season. They have seen many career highs as well as returners to lineups. Mia Takakawa, Mia Townsend, Rutuja Nataraj are key contributors for this team this evening. Iowa has really been finding their team stride this season. They haven't quite put a meet together, so they're looking for this evening to be the time that their meet is perfect. Keep your eyes on these 3. They can make it happen. And Maryland is coming off of a 2-meet weekend. Pretty tiring when you think about it, but head coach Brett Nelligan said that this weekend they are locked in on landings, bringing the energy, and having the best meet they can at the end of the evening.
Let's talk about the number 3 team in the country, your alma mater, Michigan.
How good is Michigan? Well, these 3 athletes hold the number 1, 2, and 3 top all-around scores in program history. They do not have a weak event, and they are surely the difference makers for the Wolverines. And finally, Penn State has had a great season. Head coach Sarah Shire Brown spoke very highly of the drive in this team, but these 3 superstars have absolutely taken them to the next level. In particular, Cassidy Rushlow on bars is a piece of art. Keep your eyes out. It's going to be a great meet for the Nittany Lions.
And we welcome you into the Devaney Center in Lincoln, Nebraska. They stepped up to host the Big Fives as we have Illinois, Iowa, Maryland, Michigan, and Penn State. We thank all of you for joining us after basketball. Alongside Olivia Karras, I'm Dean Linke, ready to rock and roll.
This is such an exciting competition. I'm watching warm-ups right now, and there's so much good gymnastics happening. I cannot wait to see how these teams leave it all out on the floor, get prepared for postseason, and make sure that they can get all the jitters out before we get there.
These are all 10 of the teams in the Big Ten, as we'll see these 5 and then the remaining 5 tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Ohio State at 4-1, Michigan 3-1, number 3 in the country. Let's break down the 5 coaches tonight. Natalie Walsh, now in her 6th season, has done an amazing job at Illinois. We move to the Iowa Hawkeyes. Larissa Libby, 19th season as the head coach at Iowa, her 23rd season, the Canadian and LSU gymnast. How about Brett Nelligan, 14th season since replacing his father, Bob. He's been there a long time. And the legend that is Bev Plotke. She has coached Michigan to 25 Big Ten titles, 7 Big Ten regular season crowns, and an NCAA championship. And Sarah Shire Brown, also in her 6th season as head coach, spent that 1 year with you at Michigan.
Sarah's done a fantastic job with Penn State. I'm thrilled with how they've been looking so far this season, specifically on uneven bars. That work over there is just phenomenal.
Let's dive right in, Olivia Karras. We talked about it earlier, but the Big Fives, why is it such an important meet?
There is so much going on during this competition. It's loud. We call it the 4-ring circus because everything's happening simultaneously. So a great opportunity to get used to postseason competition.
All right, here we go with that 4-ring circus. As you say, Iowa's on bye. Maryland will start on bars. Rhea LeBlanc, the sophomore, with a career high of 9.85.
This is a big roll, starting in the leadoff position on the first event of the evening. Very nice single bar release, a piked Jaeger it's called. Good transition from high to low bar in her bail handstand. Nice job working through her final handstand, ever so slightly off, but a big dismount and a nice teeny little scoot backward. But I love seeing the excitement as she leads off this squad for their competition.
Number 2 in the country, Michigan on vault, Natalie Wojcik. She has put up a perfect 10 before.
And I saw her stick this vault in warm-up. Oh, just a little overcooked there. That is a Yurchenko 1.5 twist. Starts from a 10.0. Lands forward, so a little trickier than landing as a full twisting Yurchenko, which you'll see many athletes compete.
First on the beam for Illinois. They're 24th in the country as a team on the beam. Amelia Knight with a career high of 9.9. By way of the UK, here's the junior, Amelia Knight.
As I mentioned, Rhea LeBlanc starting things off on uneven bars. The leadoff on balance beam is even trickier, really setting the tone for this entire balance beam lineup. And Amelia is the perfect person to be put in that position. Nice leap combination, switch leap to a leap, beautiful extension.
Olivia, how do you tune everything out when you have a Big 5 event like this, particularly on the beam?
It is different per person. Some sing, some count, some don't think about anything. Some use their key words, but really nice series there. A side aerial back handspring. Going from moving sideways to backwards. Very difficult transition. Side summy, landing sideways on the balance beam. Really nice job.
Season high 9.85, career high 9.9 for Amelia.
Just the dismount, gainer full to a stuck landing. That is the perfect routine for the Illini to begin competition. Bravo.
Victoria Gatzendorfer, second up on the bars for Maryland. They're 24th in the country. Her career high, 9.775. Brett Nelligan looking on.
Really nice work on that connection. Slight leg separation in the pack salto there. But really well done continuing to move through this routine. Nice Stalder element into a sky-high double top and a stuck landing. Talk about zero deduction and an exclamation point to finish up on bars.
4 athletes in the Michigan lineup have put up 10s on the vault, including Gabby Wilson, the senior from Ypsilanti.
Gabby has crazy height on this vault. Ooh, little under-rotated there. That means she was supposed to obviously stick the landing for a 0 deduction, but under rotation means she didn't quite get enough rotation throughout the vault to land perfectly. So that is a decent-sized deduction, unfortunately, for Gabby Wilson and the Wolverines.
Move over to the floor where Penn State is 43rd in the country. Second to go, Cassidy Rushlow, career high 9.875, the senior from Massachusetts. We're still waiting on the score from Maddie Johnston, who went right before her. We'll go back to Naomi Morrison, the junior from Chandler, Arizona, career high 9.975.
Naomi is such a technically beautiful athlete. Ooh, little slip. Oh, gosh. It looked like she slipped on the table there. Her hand didn't quite make it on, which makes sense considering that landing, but 2 very uncharacteristic vaults for Michigan.
Cassidy Rushlow. We had Penn State earlier this year, and she did deliver a big performance.
And Sarah Shire Brown has told us that she's just waiting for Cassidy's breakout year. And so far, so good, I must say. Opens it up with a big double tuck. Little bounce there before the lunge, but kept it inbounds, which is very important. Oh.
Cassidy, go ahead.
a little issue there on her leap. She didn't quite get the takeoff off her leg and resulted in a lack of amplitude and split, so the judges will deduct for that.
The senior fresh off a nomination for this year's AAI Award, which recognizes the most outstanding senior gymnasts in the country.
Combination pass, 1.5 to front layout. Little off there. Looks like she just missed the punch ever so slightly in between those two elements.
Penn State as a team 2-3 in the conference, 8-5 overall.
Final pass for Cassidy. Front 1.5 twist. Rudy a little bouncy there on the landing. Just a shaky routine overall for Cassidy.
3 times Sierra Brooks has put up a 10 on the vault. A senior from Plainfield, Illinois. Sierra Brooks, Michigan.
Sierra also competes a Yurchenko 1.5. Good job there. She did under rotate again, as we discussed with Gabby Wilson. She did take a step backward, so she will be penalized for the step as well as the under rotation, unfortunately.
See the score for Knight, 9-8-7-5. We're still waiting on the score for Mallory Mizuki, who went right before, as we get set for Abby Miller, the junior from Rochester, Minnesota, career high 9-9-2-5.
Abby has been a staple in this beam lineup. Nice full turn, a required element for all balance beam competitors. Back handspring layout, step out. Beautiful landing. Little bit of soft knees throughout the routine. The judges will deduct for execution as well as for all landings.
Season high for Abby is 9-8-5. As I mentioned, her career high set last year, 9-9-2-5.
Switch leap to straddle quarter as her leap combination. Very difficult beat jump to a front toss. Solid on that landing. Just the dismount for Abby. A round off 1.5 twist and a stuck landing. These Illini are fighting and they are on fire on beam.
Emily Roche is pumped up. We move back to the freshman sensation for Penn State, Ava Piedrahita, 9.85, career high, the rookie.
Big double pike to open it up for Ava.
Ava's the only Nittany Lion this season to have competed the all-around in every single meet.
And just as a freshman, what a tremendous honor to compete on all 4 events. Round off 1.5 to a front layout. Judges are really looking for that second salto to rise above the first. They could deduct her for lack of amplitude slightly there. Final tumbling pass, a big double tuck to a beautiful lunge landing. Love to see the excitement from the team.
Abby High School, 10, 2 times, the graduate student from Charlotte, North Carolina, Marvin Ridge High School.
And Abby has one of the best techniques on vault. Beautiful in the air, just the slightest little hop forward, but she is just phenomenal on that event.
Mia Towns just mounted on the beam, career high 9.925 for the senior from Texas.
Mia has such a strong and confident presence on balance beam. Beautiful positions on both the split and straddle, leap and jump.
Season high 9.825 for Mia.
Combination cat leap into a front toss. Looks like she had it and then second guessed herself slightly and had to lift her leg, which the judges will deduct for. A handspring layout step out, right back on track there. Perfect landing.
Her smile told the story of getting back on track.
She is so great on this event, and wait till she competes floor. It is an absolute party. Just the dismount, a round off 1.5 twist. In tucked position, tries to hold on to it, had to take an arm circle, which the judges will count as a little bit of an off landing, but a great routine coming back after that bobble for Mia.
Elena Virova, 9.925 career high, just started on the floor as you see the 3 scores before her for Penn State.
Full twisting, double tuck, that is an upgrade for Elena. Done so well.
Sarah Brown now in her 6th season. These are her athletes.
And she was so excited about the fact that these are the athletes she recruited. She's known them and seen them grow up in club gymnastics and really feels confident that they are Nittany Lion material.
Lena with a 9.925 against Rutgers.
Little sloppy positioning on the leaps there. Again, it's just like Cassidy Rushlow. She didn't quite get the rise on the leaps that she was looking for. The judges will deduct for that. A nice way to come back with her combination pass. Front lay, front full. Really great work for Elena Virova.
Now we go back to the beam as we see Ruutu with a career high of 9.875. Really stepping out this season for the Illini and for Big Ten women's gymnastics.
And Ruutu represented India this past summer at the Commonwealth Games. Head coach Natalie Walsh told us that she really saw an increase in confidence after competing internationally. And right there with that series back handspring layout step out, so strong with her arms and her body on the landing. Switch leap to straddle quarter. Excellent split position in the air.
Ruutu from the Connecticut Gymnastics Academy.
Love this beam choreography, matches her perfectly. Beautiful work there. She looked slightly off and really stayed tight in her core to minimize deduction. Great work on her full turn requirement. Just the dismount, round off 1.5 twist. Good job, almost stuck. I would say that was a very close stick. She didn't fully absorb the landing, but as minimal as a deduction as possible.
Last to go on the vault for Michigan, Kaylin Morgan, the freshman from Huntsville, North Carolina.
This is her first time officially in the lineup. Yurchenko full. Pretty much it looked like a stuck landing. What a entrance into the vault lineup. One of the most difficult lineups in the country to crack, in my opinion, and she delivered.
Jessica Johansson, the sophomore from Gymnastics Express, career high 9.875. Michigan's results on the vault are in. They had a 48.9. Their average is 49.5, so a little low for the Wolverines.
Definitely uncharacteristic. Just looked like they weren't quite zoned in on those landings as they needed to be. Nice double pike to open it up for Jessica.
Season and career high for Jessica, 9.875. Her last meet, a 9.85.
Second pass for Jessica. 1.5 to a layout half. Looked like she was supposed to do a jump out of that pass, so a little off there on the jump out of it, but works through it very well. Final pass for Jessica, big double tuck. That's the landing she was looking for. Great control there. Nice job.
We move over to the bars for Maryland with the best score coming from Kondo, 9.825, as we see Aleka in the anchor spot.
Aleka is a beautiful bar worker. Lovely lines. The height on that release move is gorgeous. Excellent body position on the transition to the low bar.
Aleka Chiknius for the Terps.
Big dismount coming up. Double layout to a, oh! I thought she had it. Looks like she had a slight hop back, but great work. That bar routine just keeps getting better.
What a career Mia Takakawa has had. She has scored a 10 on the beam, and she is ready to roll. The senior from Sacramento, California, Mia Takakawa, Illinois.
She's been perfect on this event for a reason. Her lines, fluidity of the routine is so spectacular. Gorgeous work on the side aerial back handspring.
You can see behind her Amani Herring, freshman for Penn State, on the floor.
Beautiful switch leap, straddle quarter. Picture perfect positions. A little off there on just her dance element. Very uncharacteristic. Just the dismount, back handspring to a gainer full, and she knows how to stick this. Yeah, there we go. Loving the emotion from Natalie Walsh. She knows they needed to go big on balance beam, and that's just what they did. Bravo to that beam squad.
Yeah, never count out a Natalie Walsh coach team. She came in hungry 6 years ago from Utah State, and they have been solid. Illinois posting a 49.35 on beam. That's a new season high, topping their previous season high at 49.225. The Hawkeyes are in the lineup when we return. Tomorrow, catch men's hoops when the Gophers take on the Huskers. Coverage begins tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Speaking of the Huskers, they stepped up to host the Big Fives tonight and tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern time. We're through one rotation. In comes the number 18 team in the country, the Iowa Hawkeyes, as they will now make their first appearance here on a Friday night as part of our coverage of the Big Fives. See the team numbers. Illinois, led by Natalie Walsh, leading through one rotation. Of course, Iowa is not gone yet, but Illinois with a solid score on the beam, 49.35. Of course, Iowa was on the bye in that first rotation. Maryland and Michigan both at 48.9.
Very uncharacteristic fault rotation for Michigan. Only 2 9.9s, but the highlight for me is Kaylin Morgan. Debut in the lineup, 9.9. Perfectly stuck full twisting Yurchenko. As a reminder, that vault only starts from a 9.95. So the fact that she had a 9.9 is really remarkable. So big kudos to her, and important for the Wolverines as they continue moving toward this season and the remainder of their year.
57.9 for Brett Nelligan and Maryland on the bars.
Highlight there was Aleka Chiknius. Wonderful work on the uneven bars last. 9.85, beautiful routine, and a 48.9 for Maryland is not exactly what they were looking for. Being sub 49 is definitely not the number you want, but they have a lot of meat left to make up for it.
Maryland will be on the beam with their 22nd in the country, still practicing. Iowa will be on the floor where they're 15th in the country. Michigan 5th in the country on the bars, and Penn State 33rd in the country on the vault. The Illini, after taking the lead through one rotation, will sit out this second rotation.
And that can be definitely, buys can be a little bit of a mental refresh, or sometimes you need to keep the energy going in the locker room. The reason there's a buy is there's 5 teams and 4 rotations. So the buy happens after balance beam, before floor exercise. I remember when I competed, we used to dance, color, fix our makeup, you name it, but keep yourself moving so that you're not sitting in between the meet, and stay focused on the remaining events after your bye.
It's the Big Fives tonight and tomorrow night. Always great to be with the 4-time Big Ten champion and 6-time All-American from Michigan, Olivia Karas. I'm Dean Linke, and reminding everybody that the Big Fives, this counts toward their regular season. We could find out by Saturday who the regular season champ is. There will be 2 more contests made up on Monday, so that could play a role. But the big thing is, as we build toward Iowa City, you want to get in that night session.
You do, and the session breakup is 6 teams in the afternoon, 4 in the evening session being the prime time session. But the most important thing to note about this competition is scores are so important in gymnastics. Your NQS, your national qualifying score, that keeps you in the rankings nationally. But this meet in particular, while scoring obviously is important for who wins and loses, it's all about win-loss for seeding at the Big Ten Championship, like you said, Dean. So lots on the line here for this competition and for these teams this weekend.
See Maryland coming off that big score on the bars. They were averaging 49.1 coming in, so a nice start as they move over to the beam. Emma Silberman, a senior from New Hope, Pennsylvania, a career-high 9.875. Will be the leadoff for Maryland.
And Emma is coming back from an injury. She returned to competition last season. The first year back from an injury is very difficult, both mentally and physically. But head coach Brett Nelligan told us that she has found her stride this year. She got back in the gym and really made changes that would put her at the forefront of this lineup and all around.
Now might be a decent time to also thank Nebraska for stepping up, because they kind of were trying to find a place to do the Big Fives, and Heather Brink and the Nebraska staff stepped up big.
And that's huge for them, and thank you to them for that, as this competition is so important for these athletes. So excited to have it at Bob Devaney Center.
Emma Silberman, again, career high 9.875, first to go on the beam for Maryland, 22nd in the country on this apparatus.
Not only is she the leadoff performer, but she brings the difficulty. Big opening pass here. Triple series, back handspring, layout, step out. Looked like she had it slightly off there, had to lift her right leg, which is a deduction the judges will take, as well as the wobble. Brings it back well there with a switch leap straddle quarter. Excellent split position, reaching the perfect 180 degrees.
Season and career high 9.85, last meet 9.8.
Round off 1.5 twist, dismount, hop forward. Didn't quite show control on that landing, so the judges will deduct her for that, but she stayed on, which is important.
Abbey High School, first to go on the bars for Michigan, 5th in the country on this apparatus.
And last time around, Abby had a little trouble, which is so unlike her. Close catch on that first release move, but excellent amplitude on her pack salto. Here's where the issue was. Blind full, no problem there, and into the huge double tuck and a stick. She is back after that very bizarre mishap a couple weeks ago, and that was lovely.
See how close she gets to her career high of a 9.95 for Michigan. First to go for Penn State, Virova, career and season high 9.85.
And Elina performs a front handspring, front pike. Oh, so close to a stick. She ever so slightly moved her foot. I mean, really so minimal on the landing, but what a great leadoff vault after she was slid in at the last second to be first.
The senior from Long Beach, California, Nicoletta Kulos, career high 9.925. So elegant, great lines on the bars.
You are right, Dean. Excellent first handstand for Nicoletta. Nice job on her straddle Jaeger. Great positioning there on the bail handstand. A little short there on the final cast. But great work, exclamation point on that dismount. We can't quite see the view the judges are seeing, so from our perspective here, it may look a little different than what the judges see on the side, but ending with a stick never hurts.
Hannah Casillo in with a 9.85. What a story this is. Bailey Libby, the daughter of the 19-year head coach Larissa Libby. Bailey Libby lit up the Big Ten Network screen a couple weeks ago.
It is such a joy watching Bailey compete. Beautiful combination pass, 1.5 front layout. She actually is returning to competition from labrum surgery on her hip. To be competing at this high level is, wow, phenomenal.
And it was so touching hearing Larissa talk about what it's like to coach her daughter at home. They actually have a system where, hey, I'm talking to you as my mom or I'm talking to you as my coach.
I respect it. I don't know if I could do it, but wow, I mean, she's delivering as well.
Well, you need to remember, her mom was a big-time gymnast for Canada and LSU.
Bailey is such a beautiful performer. She finishes her routine with a front 1.5, a Rudy. And as always, Bailey Libby delivered when they needed it. I just love watching her do floor. I will never get over it.
Maddie Johnston, the junior from Hills Gymnastics, career high 9.825. Second to go on the vault for Penn State.
Maddie competes a full twisting Yurchenko. My gosh, Penn State put tape on their feet. I mean, that was great. Little pike down on the landing, a little bend in the hips, but minimal landing deductions.
After back-to-back 9.825s, it's Gabby Wilson next for Michigan on the bars with a career high of 9.95.
Very nice, difficult piked Jaeger. Flawless bail handstand. Gabby is so strong on this event. Great working through that last handstand. Just her dismount. Double layout to a stock landing. That's one of the best bar routines I've ever seen Gabby Wilson do. And what a time to do it, as Michigan really needs to break into the 9.9 range.
Boy, that came right after we saw Maddie Johnston on the vaults at a new career high of 9.85. We'll wait and see if Gabby Wilson has also set a new career high as we move back over to Cassidy Rushlow, the senior from the state of Massachusetts, career high 9.9 for Penn State.
Cassidy's been in and out of this vault lineup, but what a time to be in and deliver like that. Hop back on the landing, but she has such lovely technique in the air. No built-in deductions. Great job.
Go back to the floor, and how about this freshman sensation, Karina Munoz, 9.875, career high for the rookie, and she is a showstopper.
Welcome to the party, folks, because this routine both has difficulty and it is a full-out performance. Not to mention that first pass, we caught the end of it, a double layout, is a huge upgrade for Karina. So props to her.
We already spotted her making sure she knew where the cameras were, and I already picked out a wink from her.
It doesn't shock me. She knows how to put on a show. Final pass, very difficult combo, front through double tuck. Little bit bouncy there on the landing. It looked like she stayed in bounds, which is very important as that is a flat 1/10 deduction.
A Jersey gal, East Brunswick, New Jersey, Munoz.
That routine is one of the best in the nation. It has it all, and we get another 3 years of her. I mean, man, are we lucky.
Fourth in the lineup for Bev Plocky in Michigan, Carly Ballman, the junior from West Des Moines, Iowa Valley High School, career high 9.9.
Carly gets airtime on these release moves. Great work there on that connection. One of the best done in the country. A different dismount here. She does a double front blind landing. Wow, Carly Bauman, that was... This bar lineup is bringing the heat. That was excellent.
Fifth in the country for a reason, Isabella Salcedo, the sophomore from Arlington, Texas. 3 9.85s in a row. The career high for Salcedo, 9.875.
And Isabella, as you see, does a different vault, half on, front pike off. Very difficult to land that with minimal deduction. She did have a hop on the landing, but the unique, diverse vaults we're seeing in this lineup is very nice, since we usually see the same 6 vaults from a whole lineup.
9.95 for Carly Ballman, a new career high. Here's Sierra Brooks, 21 in the country, also with a career high of 9.95. How about Ballman putting up a new career high?
That is excellent, and they really needed it. Nice job by Sierra so far in this bar routine. Now this dismount is a highlight. She does a double layout with a full twist, and she knows how to find that landing. Hop backward there a little bit, but great job.
One pass already in for Linda Zivit with a career high 9.9. You see the 9.825 for Munoz. Linda Zivit for the Hawkeyes.
And if you were already missing Karina Munoz in her performance, the rest of this Iowa floor lineup can do the same. They bring showmanship like I've never seen before.
Linda Zivit setting her career high this year. Her last meet was a 9.85.
Amazing routine for Linda. She just continues to improve every weekend and brings so much happiness and energy to this Iowa Hawkeye squad.
Jessica Johansson, as you see the 9.825 for Salcedo, her career high is 9.9.
Nice job by Jessica. She's capable of doing a harder vault. She can do that 1.5 with a blind landing. Just the full today. Not quite a perfect landing, but a beautiful vault.
Last up from Michigan on the bars, the graduate student, Natalie Wojcik, career high 9.975.
This bar routine is phenomenal. Hold on, here she goes. Huge delta release move, directly connected to a shoot over. The height on that release move is world class. A little short on her final handstand, and a hop back on the dismount. Excellent first half of that routine. Not perfect on the second half, but definitely a needed hit bar routine for the Wolverines.
A big pickup with Abby and Natalie deciding to return to Michigan as we move back to the vault. Ava Piedrahita.
Ava performs the same vault as Isabella. Half on, front pike, littlest shuffle on the landing, but Penn State really zoned in on those landings.
Adeline Kenlin, 9.925 career high for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Front double twist as she opens it up. Great job.
She's got some sass.
This is a powerful floor routine. Stunning leap combination. Switch leap into a tour jeté with a ring position. So difficult.
Her movements with the beats.
It's phenomenal. I mean, you kind of don't really have anything to say because it's so good. Gorgeous job on her final pass. Adeline Kenlin has really just brought it this season. Such great work by the junior. She has just been clutch for Iowa.
Iowa 15th in the nation on the floor. Solid performance again from Kenlin with their anchor in Jerquavia Henderson. Still talking over some of the beam scores for Maryland. By the way, Penn State, a new season high on the vault with a 49.325. Reese McClure. This is a moment ago. Now we show you Reese McClure, the senior from Frederick, Maryland, with a career high 9.925.
Nice full turn to open up her routine. Little off there. Front aerial was supposed to connect into her second skill, which is why she walked backwards. And we'll repeat it as she goes into her leap combination. Gymnasts have to know that when things don't go as planned, you need to have a backup. And so far, she is working through this routine, making sure she will hit all of her requirements.
Great to have the wisdom of Olivia Karras, former standout for Michigan.
Front toss element there. It looked like she was trying to connect that to her other salto to meet the series requirement. But here she goes. She's going to try it again. And just off there. It looks like she can't quite get the perfect body positioning and makes the decision to dismount off the balance beam. Smart decision, as once you're off a couple times, it's really difficult when you're tired to keep going. So good decision by Reese.
Jerquavia Henderson. You can just call her Q, and you can sit back and enjoy the power and the beauty. Career high 9.975. Q never disappoints for Larissa Libby and Iowa. And of course, Larissa Libby and Iowa will host the Big Ten Championships.
And this routine is so overdue for a 10.0. If anyone out there from the Gymternet is listening, I'm calling 10 watch, because this routine is absolutely superb.
10 watch alert on notice.
Huge opening pass, full twisting double back. did have a bounce back before the lunge, so it will not be a 10 tonight, but man, there's been many routines she's done that have been perfect in my opinion.
Yeah, just that little hop right there, right, Olivia?
Look at you, Dean. You're picking up on the deductions.
Here we go.
Lovely leap combination to meet that requirement.
How excited are you for the podium floor performance for Iowa and these superstars?
I literally can't wait. I'm counting down the days to see these routines in person on a podium. Final pass, front through to a double tuck. Exquisite landing. I mean, absolutely perfect. No questions asked, perfect. See in the background, Larissa Libby high-fiving Adeline Kenlin. I just love it. Everyone sees the excitement and the success. It's so great to watch.
Fifth on the beam for Maryland, the freshman Madeline Komorski, 9.9 career high. She's from the state of Pennsylvania.
Very difficult series here. A one-arm back handspring into a layout step out.
This was a moment ago, but trying to bring you as many of the gymnasts as we can here. Our crew does amazing work.
Really nice front aerial. And beautiful leaps. Head coach Brett Nelligan said that when she is on and in her zone, this routine is magical, and I see what he's talking about. Beat jump into a very difficult sheep jump. Both eyes were taken off the beam so hard. Just the dismount for Madeline. Round off 1.5. Smallest little hop to the side, but they needed that after 2 uncharacteristic beam performances right before her. And as a freshman, to bring it like that when they needed it, that's grit.
Maddie Komarovsky with the solid performance for Brett Nelligan, as you see all the fine gymnasts for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Now we catch up on the beam. Josephine Kogler, sophomore, career high 9.9.
We talked to Brett Nelligan earlier this week. He said, if I want someone going last on beam, it's Joe.
I can't believe Brett Nelligan's been there 14 years, replacing his father, Bob, keeping it in the family.
Gorgeous triple series, landed perfectly.
That was beautiful.
Very nice front walkover, as all gymnasts are required to move forwards or sideways and backwards, so that's hitting her requirement there. Good leap positions. Judges are looking for a little bit more split. She was right on the cusp on that split jump, so a little bit more. The gainer full dismount. Didn't look like the most perfect stick, but it was definitely a minimized deduction landing.
Carly Bowman, 9.95. It's a 9.95 show. Ava Piedrahita and Q also with a 9.95. Third rotation on the bounce. Gymnastics on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. We see you, Mia Takakawa. We see you, Big Ten Women's Gymnastics, and we're paying attention as you are the focus of our State Farm State of Success. You mentioned the 10 watch for Q earlier. Well, Michigan's already thrown up 3 10s this season.
It's been quite a perfect 10 season so far. Maya Hooten, she has 10 in her name. It's inevitable that she's going to get those 10s on her record. But Sierra Brooks and Abbey High School with perfect 10s on the same night at Rutgers. And then Natalie Wojcik with a perfect 10 at home at Chrysler as we celebrated the purple meet and the late Chip Hills, who we get to honor at that meet, which is very special to me. So I had to say that.
She's the great Olivia Karras. I'm Dean Linke, reminding everybody why we're here for the Big Fives tonight and tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
There's just so much going on in this meet. I mean, even trying to keep up with every athlete on every event, every score, everything that happens in this competition is important. And so far, we're seeing that not everyone is going to be on top constantly, but you have to be on the remainder of the meet. And as you can see here, Ohio State with a 4-1 conference record. Michigan and Michigan State tied with 3-1. Minnesota and Iowa actually tied earlier this season, as you see the 3-1-1 ranking there. Illinois at 2-2 and has really started this off great, but not to mention, check out the national rankings there as well. 3 for Michigan, 13 Ohio State, and 19 for Michigan State.
We'll see Ohio State, Minnesota, Nebraska, Rutgers, and Michigan State tomorrow at 1 o'clock as the second part of our Big Fives. As you see, Natalie Wojcik still warming up.
Michigan has started off a little shaky, which is so unlike them to start off vault, just not themselves, but bars came around, and Carly Bauman with that phenomenal 9.95 routine, very well deserved. She's been coming back from an Achilles injury, so seeing her really make moves for this team was special.
Maryland will sit out the third rotation. We'll see Michigan on the beam. They're 13th in the country. We'll see Iowa on the vault, 17th in the country. Penn State will go to the bars. They're 25th in the country. That's the same ranking that Illinois has on the floor. And again, a reminder that Maryland will sit out. They have a 96.2 through 2 rotations. Michigan and Penn State tied at 98.275 through 2. Of course, Iowa and Illinois have each sat out 1 rotation. Natalie Walsh in the middle of that huddle for the Illini. Carly Bauman coming off that career high on vault, now on the beam. Her career high 9.925, the junior from West Des Moines, Iowa.
Carly is in that extremely important balance beam leadoff position. She sets the tone for this beam squad, and she is the calm, cool, and collected competitor to do that.
Already twice this season, Carly's had a 9.9 or better on the beam. Thank Megan McIntosh for her wonderful game notes.
Beautiful, solid beam work so far. She's so zoned into this routine. Beautiful side semi with straight legs. You really don't see that skill often the way she competes it.
Career best 9.925 on the beam in the leadoff spot in back-to-back meets against Ohio State and Maryland.
Carly finishes with a gainer pike dismount. A stick here would be huge. Littlest foot movement. It looked very, very, very small. But
you're not giving her the stick.
I'm very strict, I know, but nonetheless a great routine to start things off.
Jessica Johansson for Sarah Shire Brown and Penn State, 9.85 career high for the sophomore.
Toe handstand to Tkachev release. Lacking a little amplitude on that release move. The judges will deduct for that. Slightly short there on her final handstand, but a big dismount, double layout. Little bit of what I like to call a college stick. She didn't show perfect control before turning to salute the judges, but a hit routine to start things off for Penn State.
Gianna Masella, 9.775 career high for Iowa.
Gianna competes a full twisting Yurchenko, and there's my stuck landing. Dean, if you're going to tell me I'm not going to give a stick, that's a stick.
That's a stick right there.
That is
Wow.
a stick right there. That should absolutely beat her 9.775 career high. I mean, my gosh.
Gabby Wilson just on the beam for Michigan, the senior, 9.975 career high.
Gabby takes amplitude to the next level. See it here. Beautiful height on her series. So much strength in her balance beam work.
Four-time All-American, three-time first-team All-Big Ten.
Difficult. Two standing switch leap jumps connected. A little bobble on the landing and just off of perfect 180-degree split on both. The judges will deduct for that.
Born in Ann Arbor, went to high school at Skyline in Ann Arbor.
Now check this dismount out. Double tuck. Hardest dismount we see in NCAA gymnastics. Great landing. She's keen to take a step back on the landing, so I will take a little teeny hop any day over a step. Great routine for Gabby Wilson.
Maddie Johnston bars second up for Penn State, the junior with a career high of 9.875. Johansson in with a 9.7. By the way, Masella for Iowa, career high 9.9 on the vault.
Man, that was deserved. That vault was beautiful. Short handstand here for Maddie as she goes into her combination dismount, but a stuck landing. Really nice work. Penn State came to play today with these landings.
Kendall LaPlante, second to go for the Hawkeyes following that career high from Masella. 9.85 career high for LaPlante.
Nice vault for Kendall. Hop backward on the landing, but great body position in the air. She has gorgeous execution.
Iowa starting to make some noise. Nicoletta Kulos, career high 9.925. What a great mount here on the beam. Perhaps a little bit overshadowed by all the superstars, but Nicoletta Kulos always delivers the goods.
I would agree with you, Dean. Nicoletta is so crucial to the success of this Michigan program. And her balance beam work is unbelievably unique. So fluid, natural. Oh no. Oh. Gosh, she's been so solid all season and just was off there on her series.
Looked like her back foot just slipped.
Oh gosh. Beautiful turn element there in an arabesque, very unique. Nice jump combination there, landing sideways on the balance beam. As a reminder, there are 6 athletes competing on each event. 5 scores count. So while there is a fall here from Nicoletta Kulos, they need their final 3 competitors to hit in order to drop this score.
Brooks High School, Wojcik.
1.5. Great landing. Again, the fall on the series was just so uncharacteristic for her, but the next 3 have to step up.
Alina Virova from Latvia with a career high of 9.85 on the bars for the Nittany Lions. You see Johnston with that 9.825.
Nice job working through so far. She's been just a little off on every skill, nothing major, but just has to continue floating through this routine. Good work there on the turn and blindfold to a double tuck, smallest shuffle with her feet on the landing. I keep saying that, just a small shuffle, but those do add up.
Allison Zolke, 9.875 career high.
Most complicated vault in the world, a front handspring to a Sukahara tuck full. It's actually called the Zolke, named after her. Unbelievable. unbelievably complicated and unique, but she does it very, very well, and she better since it's named after her.
The junior transfer from Towson by way of Wisconsin and Lake Country Lutheran High School. Allison Zolke. Sierra Brooks on the beam, career high 9.9625, the senior from Plainfield, Illinois.
Notice that 9.35 there from Nicoletta Koulos. That is the score the Wolverines would like to drop. Solid opening series for Sierra.
Sierra, like Olivia, a six-time All-American.
2 switch leap jumps connected. Great job hitting 180-degree split. Ooh, little off there on a full turn. Looks like she got slightly ahead of herself.
Last year's Big Ten Gymnast of the Year.
Back on track with that front toss element. Performed perfectly.
She has scored 9.9 or better on 85 routines.
And that's a stuck landing back handspring double full. You don't see her as excited. Knowing Sierra, she is not pleased with the bobble on the full turn, but the routine was great. Especially after the fall, they had to get themselves back on track.
Munoz now for Iowa.
Oh my gosh! That was great. 2 perfectly stuck vaults so far for the Hawkeyes. I mean, wow. Wow, wow, wow. That was great. I don't even know what else to say. That was great.
Munoz with a 9.9, the third 9.9 on vault tonight for Iowa as we move back over to Route 2 and Illinois on the floor.
Nice shout out there for Caden Fitzgibbon, her first time in the floor lineup with a 9.875. Great job. Beautiful opening skill, full twisting, double back. That's an upgrade for Route 2. Combination pass front, layout front full. For Route 2, she really found the perfect routine that works for her with difficulty. It has everything she needs, and she's really brought it.
We go back to the bars for Penn State. They're 25th in the country, 5th in the rotation. Ava Piedrahita. As you take a look at the all-around story, Ava will feature with that 9.95 on the vault.
Great work so far in this routine. Flowing through nicely. Nice last handstand. Full twisting double back to a stuck landing. Ava is having herself a day. She is on fire today with these landings. And just a freshman and so much confidence as she competes.
Ava with a 9.825 as we move back over to Iowa and Linda Zivit.
10-0 start value vault. A Sukahara full. Difficult vault. Looks like she was slightly under-rotated. Her chest was forward, which resulted in the hop forward, but a great vault by Linda.
Abbey High School, 9.925 career high for the graduate student from Charlotte. On the beam for Michigan. 13th in the country on the beam. You see the scores, the 9.9 for Wilson, 9.8 for Brooks.
Beautiful cat leap into side aerial. Little movement with the arms, but solid on the body position. Great leap combination there. hitting 180-degree split. That handspring layout step out, ever so slightly off. Looks like there was a small dip in the shoulder, in the right shoulder. Nothing major. Just the dismount, round off 1.5 twist. Stuck landing for Abbey High School. Great work after only a 9.8. Not only, I mean, Sierra Brooks has a very high career high, so a 9.8 I know she's not as pleased with, but great job bringing it back.
Q, last to go for Iowa on the vault.
And this is an upgrade. At Yurchenko 1.5, too much juice, jump forward pretty significantly, so the judges will deduct for that, but love seeing upgrades made halfway through the season. That's awesome work.
High school in with a career high. As you see Natalie Wojcik at the flip for chip, you were there. You saw a perfect 10 from this superstar.
And her beam work is truly some of the best in the country. And that 9.95 for Abbey High School, well deserved in her super senior year. Textbook perfect lead position.
2019 NCAA beam champion and last year's AAI award winner.
Triple series.
Beautiful.
Just like she's walking.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, it's so difficult.
She's in command again.
She is. She knows what she needs to do. Zoned in completely. Just the dismount for Natalie. Round off 1.5 twist. Slight scoot backward. It wasn't a flawless routine, but it was a hit. And as we said, Nicoletta Koulos with the fall, they needed a hit.
Cassidy Rushlow, last to go for Penn State on the bars for Sarah Shire Brown and the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Beautiful connection. The amplitude on that Jaeger is top notch. Oh, a little shy of handstand on the last handstand, but that full out dismount, that thing is sky high. It's huge, and she sticks it every time. I mean, beyond great.
Mia Towns, last to go on the floor for Illinois. This senior from Texas can bring the heat with a career high of 9.95. Check in with a 9.925 on beam.
Front double twist, slight little bounce over. It looked like her toe was on the line, which is not a deduction, only if you step over the line. So good save there on the flat 1/10 deduction. Second pass for Mia. Combination, very difficult. 1.5 to a front full. I see you jamming, Dean.
Michael Jackson.
Really nice leap control there. And a 2-pass routine gets the job done. Great job by Mia Towns.
The seniors know what the Big Fives are all about. Cassidy Rushlow with a stuck landing on the bars. Natalie Wojcik really close to perfection. Abbey High School with a new career high. Fourth rotation when we return. Sunday women's hoops comes your way when 12th-ranked Michigan faces Wisconsin. Coverage begins Sunday at 2 Eastern only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Friday night, Big Fives in Lincoln, Nebraska. Time to take a look at the top scores on each apparatus so far. A couple Wolverines in there.
Man, oh man, these scores are great. 995 for Ava Pietrahita on vault, new career high. Carly Bauman, 995 on bars. Again, another career high. Same with Miss Abby High School on balance beam. And we said 10 watch. It wasn't tonight, but Jerquavia Henderson on floor never misses. And that 9925 can add to her resume of phenomenal scores when they need it.
Michigan Wolverines leading through 3 rotations with a score of 147.725. We'll take a look at the last rotation. Great leadoff and 3 9-9s for the Hawkeyes.
This Hawkeye vault lineup had it. They were on fire with landings. Gianna Masella, 9-9, 9-9 from Zulke, and 9-9 from the freshman Karina Munoz. 9-8-2-5, great work by Kendall LaPlante, and of course Linda Zivit and Jerquavia Henderson. Not their best vaults of the season, but great work.
Take a look at the scores. We went to break showing you Cassidy Rushlow with that stuck landing in 9.925.
And kudos to Ava Pietrahita with that 9.825, as well as Maddie Johnston earlier in the lineup, 9.825. Great stuff over there from the Nittany Lions, who are really getting into the groove in this competition.
Michigan on a bye in this rotation, but we'll take a look at their beam scores. I'll tell you what, after Kulos with a rare fall, Brooks High School and Wojcik, veteran leadership.
And to see Abby High School really go out there and nail that routine for a 9.95 career high was great. But Gabby Wilson with that 9.9, that routine was awesome. Love seeing her get rewarded for the work she's done on balance beam as well.
And Natalie Wash and the Illini with some showstoppers, 4 9.85s, and then how about Fitzgibbon sneaking in there with that 9.875 for the Illini?
Couldn't quite crack into the 9.9 range, but all great scores. 49.275 is a great event total as they head on over to vault, where they really have to keep up with these teams sticking landings left and right. They've got to have glue on their feet.
See Michigan's team score 147.725, Penn State at 147.275. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we'll see Umi Salim Beasley's Rutgers team. We'll see Heather Brink and Nebraska's team as they're having some fun. We'll see Jenny Hansen in Minnesota. They're 7-3-1. Mike Rowe and the mighty Michigan State Spartans. And how about Meredith Paulasiewicz and the Ohio State Buckeyes? 10-1 on the season, 4-1 in the conference. The Scarlet and Gray will take center stage tomorrow.
You know it pains me as a Michigan alum to praise the Buckeyes, but what Meredith Paulasiewicz has going on over there in Columbus is pretty special this season. Tomorrow is going to be a great meet.
Speaking of Buckeyes, we say happy birthday today to our replay man, Travis Winland. As you take a look at the all-around standings, no surprise, 3 Wolverines in there at 1, 3, and 5 with a couple solid performances from Sarah Brown's Penn State Nittany Lions.
These Nittany Lions mean business, and they're putting up great all-around numbers. Doesn't really matter who wins the all-around today. It's always a nice thing to have happen as we go forward towards the end of the season. But these athletes are competing and contributing on all 4 events. They are key to the success of their team.
Illinois, Abby Miller will start on the vault. Illinois is 28th in the country. Iowa will be on the bars, Penn State will be on the beam, and Maryland will be on the floor. Michigan sitting out the 4th rotation. Abby Miller, the junior from Rochester, Minnesota, career high 9.875 for the Illini.
Abby can really set the tone here with a good landing, as close as it gets to a perfect landing. Little scooch backwards. Awesome start for the Illini on vault.
Ava Pietrahita will start out on the beam for Penn State. The rookie with a career high of 9.775.
We've mentioned it a couple times this evening. Starting on balance beam is really important, and to have a freshman in that position means this coaching staff and the team has a lot of trust in her. Very close to a mistake there. She did wobble significantly, but stayed on the beam.
From Hills Gymnastics, she went to Damascus High School in Maryland.
Cat leap to side aerial, getting herself back on track there.
Ava with that 9.95 on the vault.
Great job on her jump connection, a switch leap into a tuck 3/4, landing sideways on the balance beam. Just the dismount, round off 1.5 twist to a stuck landing. Oh, I wish that opening series was a little more solid because the end of that routine was special.
The first to go on the bars for Iowa, Allison Zolke with a career-high 9.9. Phenomenal lead off for the high-flying Hawkeyes.
High-flying indeed, Dean. That was a big first release move, followed by her bar change packed salto. Nice final handstand. Ooh, a little off on the blind full into the double back. The landing was excellent, but the turning element there was just a little off handstand. The judges will deduct for that, unfortunately.
This is weight for the Illini.
Different vault there, a Yurchenko layout half. Landing with that blind landing, not a 1.5, just a half, but a great vault for Julia.
Gianna Masella. I apologize, this is Jessica Johansson, late lineup change. And Masella is with Iowa anyway, so my bad, as we go back to the beam for Penn State.
Little off on her side aerial skill there. Did not come off the balance beam, which is great. Cat leap to switch side as you see Sarah standing at the end of the balance beam. Dismount, round off 1.5 twist. Hop forward, but big high five from Sarah Brown. She knows that that was a big one.
Well, she just saw her teammate Ava Piedrahita with a 39.3 for all around. Here's Gianna Masella. We knew she was coming, and here she goes for the Hawkeyes.
Huge piked Jaeger, a little messy in the legs, in the skill, but the height and the amplitude was great. Good job working through that handstand, ever so slightly shy of perfect. And the double layout to a college stick, I'd say, landing a little on her toes. Couldn't quite hold the landing for a perfect stuck landing, but a great hit as she was a late lineup addition, and she delivered.
She performed in the Super 16 with a 9.475, then a 9.1. The freshman from Palm Harbor, Florida. We go back to the vault for Illinois.
Big vault for Michaela Green. Step backward, which was a decent size step. The judges will deduct for the vault itself as well as the landing and the step. You saw the score flash there for Julia Wade, a 9.875, well deserved.
That's a new career high for Julia Wade. Just getting on the beam for Penn State, Isabella Salcedo with a career high of 9.875. You see Jessica Johansson with a 9.725.
Beautiful back handspring layout. This is one of my favorite beam routines. She smiles through it. So fluid, and check this out, a standing punch front. Unbelievably difficult. Very rare in college gymnastics as it's just so hard. Isabella has such a fluid and calm presence on balance beam. Split jump to straddle 3/4, off for sure on that, but maintained as much control on the skill as possible. And another college stick there, front full, landed up on her toes, but turned and saluted the judges, and there's a hit routine.
Fun performance from Salceda. We go back to Iowa and the bars. Marissa Rojas, career high 9.8, third in Larissa Libby's lineup.
Opening skill here. Ginger release move, turning halfway in the skill. Leg separation on both the Ginger and the Bale handstand. Good job on that last handstand into a half in, half out to a stuck landing. I saw her have some trouble with that in warm-up, and she had no issues during the competition.
Caden Fitzgibbon, career high 9.825, next for the Illini.
Full twisting Yurchenko. Almost stuck, couldn't quite hold it perfectly for a no deduction stuck landing, but really tried to hang on there and minimize the deduction as much as possible. She's having a great day today.
Love the smile of the 6-year head coach, Natalie Walsh, who's done a great job leading Illinois. Remember, Michigan sitting out this fourth rotation. We go back to Penn State. Penn State, 28th in the country. Haley Gibble, the freshman, with a season high of 9.85.
Very elegant front aerial to open her routine. Here's her series, back handspring, layout, step out. Solid work.
Can't tell you that Fitzgibbon tied her career high on the vault for Illinois at 9.825.
Lovely straddle position on her switch side. Zero deductions there. Gorgeous beat jump into a split ring. Takes her eyes off the beam. No problems on that skill. Oh, just the step forward on her dismount. The rest of the routine really was phenomenal.
That's the first pass of Emma Silberman for Maryland. After you see the 9.825 for Maryland in the third spot, this is Emma Silberman. Career high 9.9, the senior from New Hope, PA.
Needed a little more rotation on her leaps right there. She didn't quite finish all the way. Judges are looking for where your feet start and finish on all turning jump elements.
Silverman holds the Maryland all-time record on the bars. This is now Silverman on the floor for Maryland.
Final pass for Emma, very difficult, front double full, little extra juice, couldn't quite finish with a zero deduction landing, but wow, very hard to do that difficult of a pass last in a routine.
Mia Towns, the senior from Texas, career high 9.925.
10-0 start value vault, Yurchenko 1.5, scoot backward, under rotated a little bit, which resulted in the move backward and a little bit of knees in the air.
From the start on the beam, Cassidy Rushlow for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Her career high 9.925. You see Gibble in with a 9.775, just under her season high.
Beautiful beat jump to a split 3/4. Lots of complicated and difficult jumps and leaps in this Penn State beam lineup. Back handspring layout, step out. Teeniest little movement. I mean, I'm being really picky here. flawless side aerial, no problem there. Just the dismount for Cassidy. Round off 1.5 twist. There's a stop landing. Dean, I see you putting your hands in the air. You know that's perfect.
Yeah, that was solid.
That was solid. That is a 0 deduction landing, and she knows it with that celebration.
Alexa Rothenbuscher, 9.925, career high, the junior from Fairfax, Virginia.
Very unique and difficult first pass, a whip to a double tuck. Hard combination and done perfectly.
Rothenbuscher, W.T. Woodson High School.
Good work on her leaps there. Final pass for Alexa. She ends with a double pike. Really nice. Solid routine for the Terrapins.
Last vault for the Illini, Rutu Nataraj, career high 9.825.
Another 1.5. Oh, I could tell off the table that that was just off. Looks like she crunched it a bit on the table, didn't quite get the pop off.
See, Kendall LaPlante fell, so this is important. Adeline Kinlan, followed by the rookie Karina Munoz.
Beautiful job so far. As Quest Hayden, the bars coach, is looking on his team's bars work. A little movement on the landing, but man, if I need someone to go after a fall, I'm choosing Adeline Kinlan because that was just what they needed.
Maddie Johnston, last to go on the beam for Penn State, has a career high of 9.9. They'll take that right now as Cassidy Rushlow in with a 9.85.
Perfect back handspring layout, step out.
Penn State ranked 28th nationally as a team on the beam.
Very pretty split jump to a sheep jump. Nice side aerial.
Just saw Cassidy Rushlow deliver the goods. Rushlow now with 39.2 in the all-around.
Maddie finishes with a round off 1.5 twist. Oh gosh, didn't have perfect control on the landing, but a great routine for Maddie Johnston.
First pass, Reese McClure, the senior for Maryland, with a career high of 9.9. Rothenbuscher in with a 9.9, just under her career high.
And Reese has fun on floor. Second pass is a front layout to a Rudy. Good job working through that landing. She looked a teeny bit short, and she made it work for a 0 deduction landing.
The senior from Frederick, Maryland, a bright light from the Maryland Terrapins.
Gearing up for her final pass in a very fun routine. Front layout to a front full. Great finish for Reese McClure. That's a fun routine. That'll get people on their feet for sure.
Last to go on the bars, Karina Munoz with a career high of 9.875.
They need that right here, as they need to drop that score from Kendall LaPlante. Little bit of a leg separation on the Bale handstand, but that's a great handstand, and check this out. Really up into a double layout arm swing. Her feet didn't move, but her arms did swing, which the judges will take a very minimal deduction for. And I love her energy. She knows they needed that big time.
Alexa Rothenbuscher, outstanding on the floor. Penn State is in the clubhouse with a 196.1. Final rotation when we return to Lincoln. Wolverines fans, Minnesota Golden Gophers fans getting ready for tomorrow as well. A great night tonight and another big day tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Penn State is done, a 196.1. That's the 5th time they have cleared 196 on the season. The Nittany Lions. Michigan sitting out that last rotation. They're at 147.725. But guess what? They hit the floor where they're #1 in the country.
Whew, this rotation's great. They know how to bring it. The difficulty is there from the first competitor all the way through the end. So that's going to be special from the Wolverines on floor.
These are the scores for Natalie Walsh in Illinois, the Vaught. As you see, the best score coming from Julia Waite with a 9.875.
Definitely a miss there with the fall from Rutuja at the end, but a great score overall for the Illini.
The Iowa Hawkeyes get a 9.85 in the leadoff spot from Allison Zolke.
And definitely in the middle there, the momentum shifted after the miss from Kendall LaPlante, but kudos to Adeline Kenlin and Karina Munoz for bringing it back and dropping that score.
Sarah Shire Brown's Penn State team on the beam, a 9.85 coming from Cassidy Rushlow.
Man, I think they were robbed on beam, and I'm the first to say it. Rushlow beam was beautiful, and that rotation was pretty awesome. The scores don't reflect it, in my opinion.
And you see the 9.9 from Rothenbuscher for the Maryland Terrapins. Solid score from Emma Silberman and Reese McClure.
Great work with Maryland on floor. A little bit slow there off the top, but the last couple competitors brought it. Gave them to a 49.2 great total on the event.
Remember, the Big Fives, this counts as essentially regular season dual matches. So Michigan matching up with their 4 teams will help determine, as Bev Plotke, the winningest coach, I do believe, in Big Ten history, any sport, any gender. Bev Plotke has been that great.
That is correct, and she built an empire, and that empire is Michigan Gymnastics. It was a pleasure to be a part of that program and to train under her because, wow, legendary, GOAT status, honestly.
Just a few years removed from winning the Natty for Michigan.
Best day of my life, and I wasn't even on the team. It was the best day of my life.
It'll be Nicoletta Kulos who will lead off for Michigan, followed by Abby Heiskell, Natalie Wojcik, Naomi Morrison, Sarah Brooks, and Gabby Wilson, who can put up a 10. Alongside Olivia Karras, I'm Dean Linke. Delighted to be with you tonight and looking forward to being with each and every one of you tomorrow, 1 o'clock for the second edition of the Big Fives with so much at stake leading up to Iowa City in a few weeks. Look forward to being with you there as well, Olivia, as we'll start with Nicoletta Kulos, a career-high 9.95. The senior from Long Beach, California, will lead off for Michigan on the floor. Again, #1 in the country on the floor.
Unbelievable kudos to Myliana Hermelin for the impeccable floor work with the Wolverines this season. Nicoletta opens up with a combination pass, 2.5 to a punch front. Great job being aware of where the out-of-bounds line was, stayed inbounds.
Nicoletta with their career best 9.95 on the floor against Jenny Hansen's Minnesota Golden Gophers.
jump combination for Nicoletta. Final pass, she competes a 2-pass routine, really packs the difficulty in those 2 passes. Big double pike, good control in the landing, little movement of the front foot just there at the end, lost her balance ever so slightly. But she is the definition of the perfect leadoff performer on floor. Way to go, Nicoletta. Great work.
Nicoletta Koulos leading off for Michigan on the floor. The final rotation, again, Penn State is done. Illinois, 28th in the nation on the bars. Rachel Gordon, career high 9.875 for the Illini.
Difficult combination off the top of the routine. Unique dismount here for Rachel. So cool. 1.5 twist. Stuck landing. She has been clutch for the Illini in that leadoff spot on bars.
Josephine Kogler, the leadoff for Brent Nelligan, career high 9.9.
This is a big vault to lead off. Beautiful body position. Great job minimizing any potential landing deduction. Smallest little scoot backward, but her gymnastics is so technically beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. Just a teeny tiny hop there, Olivia. Maryland, number 21 in the country. Caitlin Ewald, second to go for Illinois. Career high 9.9. The Illini, 28th in the country on the bars.
Nice opening release move, straddle Jaeger. Nice work so far in this routine as Caitlin Betts, their assistant coach responsible for the bar work. Standing right there, big dismount, full twisting double back, stuck landing. They are 2 for 2 on stuck landings on bars.
Go back to the floor for Michigan, where Abbey High School, the super senior, career high 9.975.
This routine is such a treat. Beautiful opening double Arabian. She has really just blossomed in her career. And this floor routine is, I can't stop smiling. I love it.
They love her at Marvin Ridge High School, where their AD, Tom Jamerson, is looking on.
Dean, how are you not dancing right now?
This is awesome.
Final pass for Abbey High School, 1.5 to front full. Woo! Oh no! And unfortunately, she did step out of bounds there. That is a flat 1/10 deduction. She was trying really hard to keep it in. So that routine will be scored, and there will be a penalty, so to speak, 1/10.
Abby Miller, third to go on the bars for the Illini, 9.775 career high. You see how her name is spelled, but it's pronounced Miller, and Abby has been solid every time we've seen her on the Big Ten Network.
What a catch on that release move. She was far away, and a fingertips catch as she continues through this routine. Short handstand there, unfortunately, but just the dismount, double layout, under rotated. She had to take a step forward, which will be a deduction for the step as well as the under rotation.
Q, Jaquavia Henderson, the leadoff for Iowa on the beam. Career high 9.9.
This routine has it all. It's difficult, it's calm, it's confident. Flawless back handspring layout, step out.
Senior from Peoria, Illinois, and Dunlap High School.
Nice job on her leap combination.
IQ with a 9.9 at Ohio State on the beam.
And this is huge, a double tuck. Oh, yeah. Oh, a little hop backward, but that is just a treat. Huge dismount.
Natalie Wojcik getting set for Michigan. Like Abbey High School in front of her, a career high of 9.975, and Naomi Morrison behind her with that same career high. Brooks also with that score. The super senior, Natalie Wojcik.
Natalie was not competing floor for a while and has broken into the floor lineup with a new reconfigured floor routine. Beautiful opening pass, 1.5 front layout.
We can tell you that Natalie needs a 9.825 or better to overtake her teammate Abbey High School for the all-around lead. High School with that 9.7 in at 39.4.
Natalie also performs just a 2-pass routine, finishes it off here with a double pike. Beautiful, perfect control. I love to see her smile, as I know getting back into this floor lineup was a huge goal of hers, and my heart is just racing with happiness for her.
So well said as we return to the Maryland Terrapins. Reese McClure, second to go for Brett Nelliken, 9.85 career high.
Another full twisting Yurchenko. Beautiful positioning in the air. I just need her to absorb the landing. The judges are looking for that patience on the landing before saluting. The vault itself is great.
We go back to Illinois, Mallory Mizuki as Miller in with a 9.65, Ewald with a 9.875. Mizuki's career high, 9.925.
And she has had a career high that good because of her pristine handstand work. She is so good at hitting those handstands. There it is. Wow. Excellent job. Blindfold, double tuck. Oh, step on the landing. The rest of the routine was great, but it all comes down to those landings.
Mizuki would get a 9.8. Naomi Morrison, career high 9.975 for the junior from Chandler, Arizona.
Oh, gosh. Half in, half out there. Decent size deduction on the landing. I don't quite know if she stepped out of bounds or not. If she did, again, it'll be that 1/10 deduction.
First team All Big Ten a year ago.
Front layout to a front full. Great work bringing it back after that first pass.
14 times in her career, a 9.9 or better on the floor for the Wolverines. Can tell you her teammate Natalie Wojcik now the all-around leader after that 9.9 on the floor. She is in at 39.5.
Final pass for Naomi. She ends with a double tuck. Little under-rotated. She had to take a step forward, so the judges will deduct for the under-rotation and the step. So just a little off throughout that routine, but that doesn't take away the fact that Naomi Morrison is such a beautiful athlete.
Olivia O'Donnell on the bars for Illinois. You see Mizuki in with the 9.8. The career high for Olivia, 9.925.
Gorgeous first handstand. That connection there was great. Her toe point in the lines all the way through her toes is so impeccable. Little over on the blindfold and a slight shuffle on the landing, but I always love talking about her as she is an alum of my club as well. So kudos to a fellow alum.
Olivia Weir for Maryland.
Big vault. Otherwise, the vault itself was really nice in the air.
Olivia Weir's career high 9.875. Sierra Brooks, the senior from Plainfield, Illinois, like the three in front of her, a career high of 9.975. Looking for a big finish here from Brooks and Gabby Wilson. Still waiting on the score from Morrison. Brooks, number 9 in the country, on the floor for a team that is number 1 in the nation on the floor, Michigan.
This routine is special. Sierra just knows how to dial in. Full twisting double back. Good job being aware of the line there. She did not step out of bounds, so great job. Nice amplitude on her leap combination.
Business administration major Sierra Brooks.
Final pass for Sierra. Front through to a double tuck. Beautiful, perfect lunge. And a great finish to an excellent day for Sierra Brooks.
Adeline Kenlin for Iowa, 5th to go. You see Rojas with the 9.825. Adeline Kenlin, number 23 in the country. Part of the reason she can put up a career high like a 9.975.
Adeline is the reigning NCAA beam runner-up. And there is a reason. Now check this out. I was told it might happen. And there it is, a triple series. Back handspring, layout, step out, layout, step out. That is an upgrade for Miss Adeline Kenlin.
Junior from Iowa City.
Gorgeous work out of that full turn. Just the dismount for Adeline. Cartwheel, gainer full. I love how confident she is on that landing. Great routine.
Emma Silberman, career high 9.875 for Maryland.
Tricky vault gear, full onto the table. Pike off. It is a 10-0 start value vault. Hop backward on the landing, but so clean.
Capable of a 10. She's had a 10 on the floor. The anchor for Michigan, Gabby Wilson.
Yeah, talk about perfect. That was an excellent landing.
Three-time first team All-Big Ten, 4-time All-American.
Front layout, front full. Great job controlling that forward momentum. Absolutely lovely leaps. Those are the best straddle positions in the country. Final pass for Gabby Wilson. Big double tuck. Nice job.
Way up in the stratosphere.
Way up. The team's going nuts. They know they needed that big time, and Gabby Wilson is the one to deliver it when they need it most.
See what her score is. She needs a 9.75 or better to finish first as we now go to Karina Munoz, the freshman sensation for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Beautiful switch leap to a switch half. We talked about her showmanship on floor exercise, and man, does she bring it over to balance beam. Handspring layout, step out. Little bobble there, little bit of a leg lift, but nothing major. Just the dismount, back handspring, gainer full. That's a stop landing. Karina Munoz, the Iowa Hawkeyes, man, they brought it today.
She'll get a 9.9 for that performance, putting her in a tie for second in the all-around. Three of the best gymnasts in the country. Jaquavia Henderson for Iowa, Sierra Brooks, and Natalie Wojcik for Michigan. We'll be back to wrap it up here in Lincoln. Stay with us. Get all the news and highlights from around the conference on The Big Show. Coming up next on the Big Ten Network with Megan McCune. Here, the Big Fives in Lincoln, Nebraska, and a familiar team taking home tonight Michigan with a 197.1. That means a whole lot of wins as well. Iowa, Illinois, Penn State, and Maryland round out tonight's action.
I would say that Iowa had a phenomenal evening. They were on with landings. They had a couple little things here and there, but off the top of the show, I mentioned they haven't put a meet together perfectly, and I think today was the closest they've gotten. And there's more in the tank.
Michigan will stay in Lincoln and take on Nebraska on Monday, but at 7-1, they've got a chance to get at least a share of the Big Ten regular season title, if not an outright title for the number 3 team in the country. Watch out for the Buckeyes tomorrow, though, as they'll feature along with Michigan State, Minnesota, Nebraska, and Rutgers, 1 o'clock.
Tomorrow's meet is going to be great. All of the teams competing have been on the rise this season. In particular, though, Michigan State, they are looking great, and I think they're going to have a great meet tomorrow.
Once again, Bev Plotke and Michigan with an outstanding season. And Natalie Wojcik, your all-around champion, wrapping it up with that 9.9. But how about that 9.925 on the beam?
She is just icy on balance beam. She knows how to do it. She knows how to nail it. So it's nice to see her in her super senior season really just making it happen.
10-second thought about tomorrow, 1 o'clock.
Better watch, because there is good gymnastics to be seen, to be done. So stay tuned, because wow.
That's going to wrap it up from session 1 of the Big Fives. Don't forget to join us tomorrow at 1 Eastern for session 2. Coming up next, it's the Big Show for our statman Mike Rodolfi, Jim Ressler, and the gang. My great color commentator, Livia Karras. I'm Dean Linke. Good night from Lincoln. We send it now to the Big Show. Megan McCune.